Financial planning. And I feel like a huge problem in the black community and the communities of color, people who are low income and don't have a lot to start with, is when we do have money, or we come into money, we don't plan, we don't save. um, and we, as in people who maybe they never really had any financial literacy. And so I was looking at an article and I thought it was really helpful insight. And I'm just going to read parts of the article. I'll leave it in the video. But it was talking about financial literacy. And it says there are also big differences in financial literacy between blacks and whites. Only 1 in 10 African Americans work with a financial professional, compared to 1 in 4 white Americans, the Prudential Reports has said. So many African Americans have had no history of someone who has a grandfather or someone who has given them some level of financial education in the household, says James Brewer, president of Envision Wealth Planning in Chicago and the president of Association of African American Financial Advisors. So one of the challenges is around some level of financial education. And that is a big problem in the black community. And I don't hear enough people really concentrated on that. It's easy to point fingers and bring up all of the tragedies and the issues that are happening, like the pay gap, the wealth gap. We've heard about some of those issues, but retirement, some of us are going to face the retirement crisis that is going to face African Americans, and it's going to hit African Americans hard. So I'm not saying that racism hasn't played a part, black women being compared to white women and being put down. Um, you're in some of the same situations. There are similar situations, but because of your skin color, you've been marginalized, or you've been uh, made to feel like you're less than, or you can't achieve certain things. We've had that in every area, like education, in the workplace, you know, but we have been successful. You have had some people who have successfully completed college education and degrees, but we turned around and we wound up in debt because you have gotten loans, and the loans, you're not able to get a job or hold down a job secure enough to pay off the loans or pay back the loans. So some people are in tens and thousands of debt. So even with that, now we have this thing where they're doing loan forgiveness programs. They're also trying to help people, and some people are still not even aware of this. They have loan forgiveness if you get into occupations that are helping within the communities. And so we have big issues in our communities. And so, with that being said, financial planning has been a big challenge for African Americans, people of color, low income status. So, what are some of the things that we don't plan? You know, um, we just look at some of the immediate things like our car note, things we need for our kids. Maybe we have like food we have to buy, paying rent, but then we have travel, and then insurance, and it could be home insurance, or it could be car insurance. So, what are some of the issues that we face? We have, single parent homes, and then we have women, even if they're educated, they have like big loan debts to educational institutions. We have children that we have to raise, and so all of your resources go towards the raising of your children and feeding them and paying your bills and your rent. And so some people, it isn't on purpose that they've gotten comfortable with some of the programs, because those programs are all that they have, because they don't have another source of income, or they have very little income. But when we have very little income, or we have a little extra income, what do people do with it? Are they concentrated on cable TV and cell phones, and what's the latest show on some cable network? And some of these shows have not really been very edifying. They do a lot of fighting, they do a lot of drinking, they do a lot of bickering, they're fighting over men. And so we'll get to that. But cable TV, how do they get you? They reel you in by telling you, we have like a special. You can have this many shows, and every month, all you have to pay is $24, $20, $19. Sometimes they get you. They got to reel you in, and then once you're in there, then you say, oh, well, I want to see HBO and Showtime, and I want to see Cinemax and all these other shows, all these other networks. But those additional networks, they charge you a fee. And then later, you realize you're on a contract, and those contracts, once they're over, then they can go up on the prices of the fees of these shows and these networks and what have you. And so you end up spending a lot of money that you could have spent maybe saving for a rainy day, or saving for retirement, or saving to plan to move somewhere better where you're no longer a renter, you're a homeowner or something like that. Or you could go to a financial planning class and try to learn how to save your money so you could do better things in your life. But we spend a lot of hours and a lot of time watching television programs that are not really benefiting us, that are just really putting us in a position where we're kind of stuck. And so we're looking at women who are pretending like they're rich and they're wealthy, and they really don't have a lot of money, because if they had a lot of money, they wouldn't have to be on these shows trying to earn something to become celebrity, reality stars. So a lot of these women like attention, and they thrive on it. You have Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta Housewives, Preacher's Exes. There's probably a lot of more shows out there, but those people are not in your lives. They're not helping you to plan for your future. They're not helping you to save money for a rainy day in case there's an emergency. They're not helping you and your kids, go to school and better yourself and better your life. It's just like quick entertainment. And what other things do we entertain ourselves with? Video games. And we know that can run expensively. When there's a video game, it gets old, and they have a new video game out, and you go out and spend $200-300. Maybe the $200-300 could have been saved, put away, so you could save it, so you could build on it and do something else with it that was more purposeful. So some of us work low-wage jobs. They say, well, we don't have money to save for if we have like a little bit of money and we get low wages. And now people are fighting because, through protesting, because what they're doing is they're realizing the cost of living is getting higher, but their paychecks aren't. So they want minimum wage to be raised. But guess what? Minimum wage, if it's raised, guess what? You best believe other things are going to be raised along with it. So what other things are we spending our money on? Are we, as in people who have been marginalized? Strip clubs, bars, substance abuse. You wind up on the street eventually, making it rain, going to these clubs, and you're spending money on women who really don't have you out. They're not in your best interest. They're just looking to get paid. And everything is about right now. It's not about what am I going to do 2, 3, 5 years from now. Some people don't even have in their mindset that their life expectancy is going to last that long. So they live in the moment, and they're thrill seekers. And then some people are not even really thrill seekers. They get conditioned to a lifestyle of poverty. They may have come from generational poverty. They wind up on the street addicted to drugs. They wind up addicted to pharmaceutical drugs. So we have the pharmacy industry making money off of people as well. So, I'm not saying that these people aren't guilty as well for, abusing people's weaknesses. But you have to, like, if you're in a sound mind and you have some self-control to the extent to where you can realize, and take a step back, what, I have been spending too much money on video games, or I have been spending my money on going to like clubs and things like that really, it's not saving money, it's giving money away. And I could use that for car insurance, or I could use that for home insurance, or I could use that to like maybe learn more about financial literacy, even if I have to go to like Staples or Office Depot and get like some DVDs on, how to plan for the future, or, even look at some YouTube videos of people who are talking about financial wealth and how to gain things. And it may start off small, but your small could grow in the long run. Break the cycle of poverty, and it have to start somewhere. And so these are the issues that are faced in these communities. And it's not just with blacks. We're having the opioid crisis with white people. We're now, if you have money and you were left a lump sum of money from a dead relative, or something that happened in your life, you were able to acquire some money, but now you have a substance abuse issue. So it's not limited to just people of color and that people that are marginalized. So most people can find something that will hinder them financially. So we have gangs. Some people have been in families of gangs and in a life of crime, and that has caused them to not be able to have good opportunities in terms of securing decent employment. And so some people will use that as a stepping stone to seek to clear their record by getting expungements or trying to work their way through and building trust in employers that they have changed and turned their life around, or they become entrepreneurial and they totally put their energies in trying to do the right thing. And you have people who use that as an excuse and they just stay in the same boat, and it's a revolving door. They go in and out of the life of crime, fighting. A lot of people put their attention in street fighting and fighting with their neighbors and fighting with people. You're all in the same boat. You're all struggling to have something, but you're in competition with one another, and this is not going to help you to plan in your future either. Competing for the same guy, instead of putting your energies into some guy who probably he's going to wind up dead or in jail, or he's going to have some kind of STD, or he's going to give you something that you don't want. And he's not really there for your kids. He's not there for you. He's got babies everywhere, maybe child support issues. You could be putting your time into learning and trying to build yourself up, where you can have something for your family and for yourself, because who knows, something could happen in your life and in another person's life and change it. Sometimes one decision or one incident can alter a person's life forever. So you may need that edge. You may need to be financially literate so that you don't feel like you're always having to rely on a system of someone else or be dependent on someone else. So this is how some people will feel when they don't have any financial literacy, or they're working and for a little bit of money. They feel like there's wealthy people that are just kind of like patronizing them. And I know I talk a lot about people of color and people who are in the black community and are people who are of color. But this can happen to white people where they get kind of relaxed. There could be health issues as well, mental issues. So I'm not trying to say that that isn't a situation that is prevalent. But a lot of that could be brought on from the substance abuse, which is something that people would have to work through with counseling. But you have people who will try to cut corners. They'll try to do things thinking that they can make money faster through a life of crime. And so we have this issues around Section 8 and their fears that the safety net that poor people or people that live like with a low or a less than moderate income are facing is a housing crisis. And so now you have people who are worried that they are not going to be able to stay in some cities or some housing units, and you do have landlords who are discriminating people with financial issues and that have Section 8 vouchers. So here you have Wheel for financial planning, you have people who will plan, and they know if they have a certain level of cash, where are they going to put it. Things, you got to take care of certain bills. But some people feel like once their bills are paid for, their money's already spent, so they don't have very much left over. And so those are the issues that a lot of people face. So I put in here this right here because we saw the movie about Nat Turner. There was a lot of controversy about that, and a lot of people get upset and they want to rebel against the system that oppress them. But a lot of times, are we also oppressing ourselves? And I don't think we've looked at that. We know that there are people on the outside that look to oppress us, but what about the things that we do to ourselves that put us in a hole, that put us in a position where we don't have a lot, and we're not trying to achieve a lot because we're pretty much feeling comfortable in our zone of, oh, okay, I always expect this to come to me. But now that things are being cut off, or things are being reduced, or there's a selection process of who's gonna be able to partake in certain programs and who's not, based on whether they've been trying to do anything to change their circumstance. Now we're all worried. People who have that worry, of course. So we've talked about issues like the welfare state and taxing the rich, and then how Americans think about capitalism, because America is about capitalism. So some people feel like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and that's just a given. And some people think that most businesses, they dodge paying their taxes, and I wouldn't discount that. Some people think the next generation will be richer and safer and healthier, and not very many people think that, just some. And then some people think that enterprise is better at lifting people out of poverty than the government. So a lot of times, in the black community, what I realize is that we deal with a lot of consumership, where we're able to have money to buy things for what we want right now, but we don't plan for what we need in the future later on. That's probably more important than what you think you want right now. We're more concerned about wants than needs and planning for the future. And so financial planning is where we lack as people. And I believe that's the reason why a lot of people have fallen into this trap. And you can't really say that, oh, I'm disabled and I don't get enough money, I'm on a fixed income. Well, you can say that, but sometimes there's extra money that comes in, and people will still fall into those traps where they have a substance abuse problem and they won't get help for it. They have a problem with spending their money and shopping too much, buying things they don't need, and they don't want to be reminded that you can't have those shoes right now. They think that somehow miraculously they're going to get some kind of money, somebody's going to do some magic trick and they're going to wind up with money. And so they're realizing now that the government is very tricky. There's a lot of distrust in the government because there's so many people that come out and they pretend to be something that they're not. And you hear their words, but you don't really know if that's who they are. They play games with you, and it rubs people the wrong way. This election was really, really a hard one to swallow for a lot of people. And so government plays a big part in how people view life also. And if you have people who can just come out and say that they're somebody and they're really not, people don't have any trust in that anymore. And in the black community, we've had a lot of things that we distrusted in terms of government, policing, different issues that have come up in the communities. So that's the reason why a lot of people have kind of like given up, and they just say, okay, we're not going to have a lot of money and we're not going to be able to win because we have these people in the White House that run everything, and we know they're not honest. And at the stroke of a pen, they can change laws and then ruin it for everybody. And so this is where the anger is coming out. So I would just say that we need to be more vigilant about trying to plan, and sometimes not spending money on things we don't need, and not wasting money on things that are not going to help our future, and not living like, oh, I'm living for today, but I'm not planning for tomorrow and the future. And so that's where our kids fall short. And so if we learn how to have some kind of financial wealth building and management and planning, it also, the kids that we're raising will learn that from us. We'll pass that down generation to generation, and we can break the cycles that we're going through now, that we're facing in this time. And I think right now it is a war on the poor. It is. It's true. There's a lot of wars. I've said that. But there are going to be a lot of big changes. And so we have to prepare for those changes, whether we like them or not. And we have to realize that a lot of times the reason why we don't have the things that we don't have, some of it is not always the system of things. We know it's set up that some people do fail, but what can we do to say within ourselves, where am I falling short? How can I control some of the things that I do have control over? So thanks for listening.